As humans, we are always determined to understand how the entire universe actually worked. And that's why fields like astronomy, astrology, astrophysics, general relativity, quantum mechanics, and astroparticle physics came into existence. Humans built observatories and labs to create a portal to understand what actually is happening in this hulking universe around us. And strangely, what scientists have found after years of research is that the world of humans is way more harder and complex to understand than the world of the universe. I mean, look at the human brain. We have successfully found out that quark, the tiniest subatomic particle, is responsible for the Big Bang theory. But we have failed to understand completely the exact recipe of happiness. But what, as humans, we do understand and have established with the researchers is everything is connected. Though our understanding of this is somewhere abstract and esoteric, but deep down humans wish to believe that the universe was indeed like that, connected. Let's understand this. Most important unit of our anatomy is our heart that pumps blood, which contains hemoglobin, and iron is the major component of it. Surprisingly, iron in the universe is created by supernovas, or the formation and explosions of the stars, where the intergalactic forces they combine and collide and they create gases, they cool down and they form iron. And so is music. It is so nuanced, textured, and complex in nature, probably it's the truest form of self-expression. That is also made possible because of the complex neural networks of human brain. And surprisingly, beats are the component of the galactic forces as well. So we are not an unimportant part of the massive universe, rather our being impacts and affects the expansive cosmos around us through our energy. And since we have consciousness in us, we can see this connection. Hi, this is Anuja Mathur, the editor-in-chief of Popp Dapp Fashion and Lifestyle magazine. And today on this podcast, we have with us Jade Hassouné, an artist, a singer, a dancer, and an actor. Hi Jade, welcome to this Popp Dapp podcast.
Hi Anuja, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. I'm very happy to be in this new era of my music career and to be launching a new song and to be here with you. So thanks so much.
Jade, we are so glad to have you with us today. So to start off with this talk, could you just tell us how is your life going and how is everything happening both personally and professionally?
Wow, this is a deep question. So it's been, as we all have experienced, a very challenging past few years with the lockdowns and everything that happened in the world. But you know what? It catalyzed me to transformation, to self-transformation, and to become the version of myself that I've been wanting to become most of my life. But it kind of like super amplified the speed at which I became this person. So personally, I'm really happy to have gone through some challenges, including like heartbreak and, thinking my career was over or wasn't as good as it used to be or things like that. But truly, these were necessary things to experience to get to this place now, because today I feel a lot more fulfilled with the choices that I'm making and with the vision that I'm building. Professionally, I'm so excited to have, well, first of all, I signed with Alessio Filippelli, who has helped so many artists to build empires, and super happy to have joined forces with him. And that means a whole new era for my music and for other aspects of my career as well. I'm juggling a few careers, so I'm a full-time actor, as well as a singer and an artist in many regards. It's just acting and music are like my main focuses professionally. So, I've been building this for 15 years now, and I'm starting to see the pieces really come together. So I would say I'm doing well. Some days everything feels perfect. Other days I still feel like there's a long way to go, but this is part of the journey, and I'm so proud of myself for following my dreams that I had when I was a kid and everything. So this is how I'm feeling. I'm so excited for my new song, Radio Silence. I'm so happy that you're here wanting to support me in this journey. And there's so much good stuff coming down the pipeline. Yeah.
That absolutely makes sense, Jade. I can completely understand and relate to the thought that hard work and consistent efforts compounds to give the fabulous results. Great, amazing. So, acting, dancing, and singing, a lot of feathers in your artistic hat, maybe. Among all these multifaceted talents that you have, where does your heart mostly roots to?
So this question is exactly in line with what I just kind of answered. It's been always sort of my challenge, I would say. It's been somewhat of a tug of war to try to select one of the arts to do as a career, because I naturally did them all since I was young. My grandfather is a famous painter from the 60s, Jade Hassouné, and that's my mother's father. And so I grew up with the visual arts, paintings and everything. So drawing was the first form of art that I did, but because it's so personal for me, I didn't want to turn it into a career. I know I'm going to do more of that type of visual arts further down the line, and I'd love to, have vernissages and galleries and things like that. But for now, as you said, a lot of feathers in my artistic hat. Oh yeah. I was training to become an actor, and also training full-time to be a professional dancer. And meanwhile, I had always been singing and everything, but acting was really my dream as a kid, and I always knew it would lead me to a singing career eventually. So where does my heart lie? Oh man, I would say music, just because for me it's the purest form of expression. I feel like we are vibrational beings. We are vibration. We are music in physical form. So, singing and dancing and moving and feeling the beat and celebrating with others through movement and dance and music seems to be the way that I want to spend every second of my life. So I would say my heart lies in music the most. Although I always drew, I always did so many of the arts. Arts and crafts is something. It's how me and my brother used to spend our whole childhood. We would just play creating art and creating toys and creating games and cutting cardboard and coloring stuff and creating all these pieces, these artworks. But yeah, I think the simple, quick answer would be singing, of course. And acting was, we can talk about that maybe down the line, but acting is how it all kind of began for me professionally. I had this vision when I was 10 years old, when I first walked on stage, and I could describe it as maybe my heart chakra opening extremely huge, and me seeing a vision of my future in a flash, a split second, which, was then kind of like my guide through my career. Every time I felt this feeling, it was this intuition to go this way or go that way or work with this person or go to that event. So,
Completely.
yeah.
Music indeed is the rhythm of the life, and trick is to get everything in sync. And great to know about your early life experiences. That's so enriching. So Jade, I know you must have gotten bored of answering this, but I guess the answer to this question would change at every step of your career. Shadowhunters have been one of the most defining works of your career so far. How has that evolved you as an actor?
Oh wow, yeah. Shadowhunters truly was what changed everything for me in my acting career, definitely. And so the way it happened, had been a long time coming, right? One opportunity built on the next. And when Shadowhunters happened, it was as if something I had been preparing for a long time came to be. And so it wasn't that much of a surprise, as more of here it is, right? This is it. This is what I recognize this. And I always knew that I would be playing, as weird as that sounds, but we can talk about that, an elf. I always knew I would be playing an elf in a fantasy show, but also always knew I would be part of a TV show that was as influential as Buffy the Vampire Slayer had been for me when I was a teen. And when Shadowhunters came, it's like I had been mentally preparing for that this whole time. And what I can say, the way it evolved me as an actor is it was mostly in the production aspect of things, and also in the politics of the acting career and the entertainment industry, as it relates to, you know, US citizens versus Canadian citizens, and how we have different contracts, I would say, and how we are even treated differently in the system and all that. And so for me, that is how I evolved the most, because I realized, oh wow, yes, all my teenage dreams are coming true, but there are certain aspects where I'm still not quite there, or okay, this is what I have to work on in terms of my business side of things, right? Like, I want to become a US actor or just get my contracts in that way. I know it's kind of a sort of a boring conversation, but this is how it changed for me the most. In terms of acting talents and growth as an actor in the skill of acting, yeah, there was a lot of learning because it was a huge production, right? It was produced by Disney and Constantine Films, who have done many of those fantasy shows and Resident Evil and things like that in the past. So a huge production like that, especially for television, it has to move really fast, and you have to be ready when you show up. And so there was those challenges in terms of delivering the best performance you can in a fast-paced way. Just because time is money, especially in a giant production like that. But where I evolved the most as a professional actor is the business side, where I really learned that there was so much more I had to learn in the business aspect of things, and in the sort of hierarchy of actors and the business, and what it means to be a Canadian in this business, and how can I grow my opportunities, and how do I go and reach for my opportunities, because they won't be handed to me. That's something I really realized, is that nobody's going to hand it to me, and I have to be the one to go and get it. So, I invested in going to Los Angeles for the premiere, and in being around whenever I could, and building a rapport with the fans, and growing in that aspect. I think Shadowhunters really made me become an adult in my life, where before I was more of a young dreamer, and then I was faced with all of my dreams, and then I realized, oh wow, there's still a lot to craft over here.
I think this sort of hustle of inclusivity and acceptance and maybe the diversity is still under process in film industries all across the globe. And also, it is high time for us now to have content creation industries to have equity with these artists. And we are glad that global artists like Priyanka Chopra Jonas have paved a way for our talents and people with color to come out and create a mark in the US entertainment. So Jade, how much do you relate to Meliorn, and how similar is he to the personality aspects of Jade, like you as a person?
That's such a good question. I have a very bubbly, sparkly, energetic personality, and Meliorn is very subdued, or plays a very calm and cool type of guy. And the way that we connect is, I think, something that the fans really realized, especially when they were creating a fan art and everything, is that I am a very spiritual person. I love to meditate. I love to contemplate the nature of reality, to explore how to use the forces of the universe and the universal laws to manifest all the dreams that we have, right? And so this is how I created my whole career, really. So that's how me and Meliorn relate. You can see him meditating in the show, connected to nature, obviously. Probably loves crystals and crystal technology and magic and in that type of way. Meliorn's also kind of half bad boy, half good boy, right? Being half angel, half demon. And I would say I sort of have that because I'm a very kind person and kind of a very open and accepting person. And at the same time, I love to be in the bad boy energy. And, I love the nightlife and all those things. So we relate in many types of ways, definitely, yeah.
Amazing. Jade, it's absolutely amazing to, get to know about this spiritual side of you. And I think that this is what makes you a splendid artist that you are. So Jade, I would like to ask you that how does your process of preparing for a character look like? And do you believe in method acting?
Well, every contract, every project will have its own entity that I sort of have a relationship with. So I feel like the preparation comes with that spirit of each project. So for Meliorn, specifically for Shadowhunters, it was a lot simpler than people might think, just because there was a lot of material to pull from. The character already existed. There was the books, so I right away jumped into the books as soon as I got the go that I had the role, which was on a Sunday or a Monday. I think it was a Monday, and by Wednesday I was on set. So it was a 48-hour gap, and in that 48-hour gap I went to buy the books, and I read the first and half the second book. So I just wanted to make sure that I had arrived at Meliorn's entrance in the show, in the book series, sorry. So that was part of my preparation, and because it was so well written, you could really understand his personality, and also because there was so much fan art already existing from Meliorn. There were illustrations that were, official illustrations, and then fan illustrations. There was some fan fiction that I could pull from. There were a lot of descriptions of the character, so I really had like a good sense of how he was and how he moved and how he spoke and all those things. So that really I had, an archive of library of who this guy is. And because I work very intuitively, it was easy for me to let him live through me, let's say. Method acting, it's rare that I'll really be into method acting, because I'm the type of the actor who I can jump in and let the character live through me, like I just said, kind of like a channel for the character. And, I could be laughing with the people on set before they say action, and as soon as they say action, the character is weeping and crying and tears are flowing through the story, right? And then as soon as they cut, I go back to blah, 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 blah. That's kind of how I am. I know not every actor is this way. Some people have to really get into it, and of course it depends with each project. The most method acting I've ever been is last year I was fortunate enough to create a feature film with some of my best friends who are also in the industry, but really came together and created this film. And I lived in this artist loft last year, and they asked me to use my apartment, my loft, and we ended up turning it into a squat for these 4 artists, like homeless kind of street kids who live in this kind of squat building. And so we trashed my place. There was graffiti everywhere, boards everywhere, just trash. And I ended up living in the space because it was my home while we shot the film. So that was very method, I would say. And then, it depends. The most method I'll go is, if the character doesn't sleep, I'll maybe be in that vibe of not really sleeping during the shoot, so that I can be in that, same energy. But I won't, or maybe I just didn't have the chance to, but it depends with the character. It'll influence me to do different things. I've never really dressed as a character and gone out and spoken to people as that character. That was something I did mostly in like theater school sometimes. But I'm more of an intuitive actor and more of a channeler, I would say, than a method actor.
Great. And character living through you is such an interesting way to put things into perspective. Though you made it sound so simple, but I can understand the layers of preparation it takes to get into a character that has already been written, that it's living in the books, and readers have generated their entire perception around the character, how it looks like and how he walks, how he talks. So it is so modest of you to explain it in this particular way. Bagging such critically acclaimed roles in Orphan Black, Heartland, and Shadowhunters, what are you aspiring to do next in your career?
That's my DJ. There's been so much good with my acting career and still going, and I'm very, very proud of it. And what excites me the most is obviously music, because I'll tell you why. Because music is my own voice. It's my own message. It's my own transmission of ideas and energy and empowerment that I get to directly share with my audience and with the world. Because when I'm doing acting, I'm interpreting someone else's story or someone else's messaging or someone else's agendas, even with whatever I'm acting. And doing Shadowhunters as a teenager, I always knew that I would do a big fantasy show that would allow me to access a lot of amazing fans around the world. And then from that platform, I would then start doing music and becoming the pop star that I am obsessed with embodying. And so this Radio Silence song means so much to me because, first of all, it's like the evolution of me as a music artist, after 5 years of being in this business, exploring and developing the artist that I am. It's something I would get all the time when I first started. It's like, who are you as an artist? Why should we care? It's like my previous successes weren't enough just to be paid attention to in the music industry. It's something I learned the hard way, kind of like, oh wow, I'm really not in the music industry. I've got to start over fully. So Radio Silence, well, first of all, I'm working with a new producer that I adore, CD Sancto from the UK, and this is our first track together that we created very recently, actually, because I have a lot of songs that I created in the last 2 years that I hadn't released, that are going to come out in the next few months, but Radio Silence is one of my most recent ones. So it kind of represents a new era as well for me. It has such an uplifting energy, and it's a way for me to empower myself and others whenever there is some sort of, betrayal that you find in some friendships, in some work relationships, or in just any relationships that you have. And in the end, we all just want to be loved, be love. Yes, we might make some mistakes, but it doesn't mean that we are not loving beings. And sometimes you see these people again and it's like you're strangers after all these years knowing each other or being really close one day and then having a falling out the next, and then you see these people and they kind of like ignore you in front of your face, or as I say in the song, leave me on scene in front of my face, as a reference to like Instagram, when someone sees your message just leaves you on scene, but then I mention it in front of my face, so it's like it happens in front of you. And then just accepting it, knowing that this happens, and just going and dancing it off, really, because ultimately we just want to be connected, have a fun time, dance, celebrate life, or let things go, right? It's all about letting things go, and in this case through dancing. And for me, this song was like taking my power back in so many ways. Often my songs are that. It's like empowering yourself to regain your control of how you see life, of your own value, of your own self-love, and going and being the epic being that you are. So you actually are here one of the reasons, or one of the examples of what this song represents for me, because you're here kind of supporting me in my path as a music artist. And collaboration with Spotify Middle East, like that's such a big deal for me. And working with Alessio too now, and getting the media coverage that I feel this music deserves. And so I'm really proud. So this is what this song kind of is, because I've been sort of disappointed in people, or lied to, or used in some ways through my music journey, because I had to start over and really find my way through this business that is very different than the acting one. There's a lot of people say a lot of things, but they don't necessarily mean them. And because there's no structure necessarily in music, it's very like wild west, as opposed to acting, which is very structured and disciplined. It was a journey for me to feel like I could trust people. And so this is kind of what this song is about. But I'm starting to feel like the pieces are coming together, and I'm finding myself, finding my true teammates along this journey, and then letting go of a lot of others. But that's part of the path. So
Wonderful. It is so thoughtful of you to talk about empowering others through you and your work. I think this is what is required in this entertainment industry at this particular moment. And this thought is something that would compound to the overall love, care, and respect. So, yeah. So, Jade, as music is like the most eminent part of you, what is the story behind creating Radio Silence, and what is it all about?
songs are always a way to express emotions and to process emotions. And even the way that I usually do it is like, for me, it's a way to feel empowered after having gone through an emotion, right? It's the moment where you have processed it, and now what do you do with it? Where do you go with it? Who do you become because of it? And so this is what Radio Silence is: having the arguments, losing friendships, blurting out or like lashing out on someone, then realizing this is not who you are, you're just a being of love. And so now you get that, and let's just go dance. And radio silence is okay sometimes. Sometimes you got to take the distance from people. Sometimes you just have to let things fall and be where they are, and then you come back and remember who you are as a loving being. And this is what my music is about. It's like remembering who you are, letting go, transmuting emotions into another form of power. And this is what Radio Silence is. Like, a lot of my songs are like that. I just want to also say that I love when songs have just like phonetic things like radio silence, radio silence, you know, like always things I'm obsessed with. And so I love to put these in my music just because it makes you groove, it makes you dance, it makes you feel good, it makes you sing. It's like it has a lightness to it, which is what music is. It's a way to release, it's a cathartic expression and melodic emotions, and etc.
Catharsis, exactly. That's what is the initial step of a person's healing journey. And that is the way to survive all sorts of emotional and personal turmoil that one goes through. Just letting it go. Awesome. So Jade, the entertainment industry worldwide has become more absorbent and accepting to the independent talents with the advent of social media platforms. And what is your take on that?
Ooh, great question. This is still something I'm discovering, learning how to do. We always hear the algorithm changed, the algorithm this, algorithm that. And I've had my journey with that as well, trying to see how is the best way to promote something. How do you get people to the streaming platforms to listen to your music? This is still in process of being discovered. Yes, you're right. Now more than ever, an independent artist can blow up and create an entire career that is fully, top of the music industry, as we've seen with so many artists on TikTok, like Saint Levant, for example. So many artists. Troye Sivan started that way even. I don't really know. I don't really know, to be honest. I'm still exploring. I've tried all kinds of different stuff. I've tried, full strategies. I've tried to just go with my intuition. And that's the exciting part, is often intuition is probably best because, even if you have a plan, as we know, plans really don't go to plan and change. And there's always unexpected things that happen along the way. And the more organic, the better, I would say. But of course, I would love to have a big marketing team behind me. But I do all of my own social media. And it's a journey that I'm also going to be working on with Alessio to build to enhance my relationship with my audience, to have more of a presence and an interaction between us. And for Radio Silence, I'm kind of doing it because it is a very kind of rushed release. I'm gonna do it in sort of a retrospect way, where I'm releasing the song with almost barely no promo, and then as the song is already out, then I'll be releasing content that will lead people to listen to the song. And also with the PR, I was more heavily focused on the PR, so me here with you on this podcast and different articles and magazines and billboards and things like that. That's super exciting. So this is a new way for me to reach people in music. And I think everybody has their own way of doing this, right? Because it is sort of a mystery how it works. And I'm still a student of this whole social media experiment, I would say.
Absolutely. I think unexpected is the biggest expectation we can have in our life. And as nothing goes as per our plan, all we can do is be prepared for it. And life happens. Great. So Jade, could you please share something about your latest release, Radio Silence, and what is your inspiration behind that?
Yeah, my new release, Radio Silence, it was to kind of forgive people I have felt sort of betrayed by, to also forgive myself for acting out in certain ways with people I love, and for us to just let things go, to laugh it off and go dance, really. I just want to make people dance. I want to make people feel empowered. I want to make people let go of their burdens, let go of their self-criticism, let go of their fears and their anxieties, and just dance on the dance floor, celebrate life, dance anywhere, just let it out and celebrate the fact that you're alive and that you can perceive and feel these vibrations that we call music.
So laugh it off and dance. Amazing. So Jade, you have had experience doing theatre in the early stages of your life. What role does that play in Radio Silence, or maybe in all of your work?
What a cool question. So basically, I would say when I was shooting my music video this week, it's always, having the acting skills. The way I really noticed it, and kind of surprised myself even, is that each look that I have, I think I have about 5 different, very distinctive different looks in this music video. Each look, when I put it on, brought out a different character out of me. So these are all aspects of me that you'll be seeing in the music video. So I think that's what theater does, really. It puts you in the character, it gives life to a character. And we did have a lot of those sort of training in theater creation classes where we'd either put on a mask or put on an outfit and then express how that would make us change the way we speak, the way we move, the way we see, the way we interact with things and people. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing in this music video with Radio Silence. And it does the same thing in music as well. Different beats bring out different sort of aspects of your personality. Maybe sometimes you're more of a bad boy, or maybe you're a lover, maybe you're someone in their feelings. Each beat brings out something different. And I feel like Radio Silence, you feel it right away. As soon as you hit play, boom, you feel uplifted, and you're kind of feeling yourself. And so I'm excited for people to see that music video for sure, because you'll get to understand what I'm talking about right here.
Undoubtedly, I think theatre is the major learning platform for any artist to have, and that is so true. So Jade, we have come to the last part of the podcast. So could you please share something about your current projects, upcoming projects, and how Radio Silence fits into the overall vision of yours and your career?
Of my career, oh man. Okay, so one of my plans is to tour the world, performing at all the major Pride festivals around the world, as well as performing at many music festivals around the world as well. That's one of my biggest dreams, is to perform outdoors at different music festivals and meeting all the people around the world who listen to my music. That's always one of the best things ever. Of course, there's always going to still be conventions where I meet fans of my career or of Shadowhunters specifically, or of other things that I've done, sign autographs, take pictures with everybody. So I'll be combining my convention and Comic-Con tour with my music tour as well. And we're looking at, early next year into the summer next year for that. I am creating I'll be releasing music every 5 weeks, let's say. I have a bunch of songs lined up, ready to go. Right now we're still in the summer vibe, so Radio Silence hits that summer vibe real strong, and then we're gonna go into more of a darker era for Jade, where, going into the fall and into Halloween, a little darker bad boy vibe is going to show up for sure. And so I'll be releasing an EP for that darker self, which is all focused by a different producer I worked with. And then Chris CD Sancto and I will continue creating music together and also create an EP, just the two of us. So I'll have a couple EPs coming out. EPs are short albums, so maybe 5-6 songs per project in the next few months, with their own vibes. And I have some TV series. I've got a French-Canadian series that I'm about to start shooting. And I'm also planning my move to Los Angeles. I'm in the process of getting my green card, like I was saying earlier in the conversation, so that I can fully join with my vision for the future that I envision for myself. So everything's lining up. Alessio and I are creating something incredible for all of you. I can't wait for you to see what comes up. And so these are my projects. I'm so excited for the future.
Amazing. We are looking forward to it. And this sounds like an action-packed year ahead for you. Jade, we are so thankful that you've come to our podcast and for this whole conversation that we have had. It was absolutely enlightening for me, and I hope our listeners get to know something about this whole entire universe of music that is still to be explored. After so many years of constant efforts and talents that have been coming into this industry, still it has a lot to offer for the further talents to come. So thank you so much for coming to our show, and looking forward to have you for the future as well. Thank you.
And thank you so much for having me. It is such it is taken so with such gratitude for your time and for your support, and for featuring my song and my career and myself on this podcast. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I really hope to talk to you again real soon. Thank you, Anuja. Talk to you soon. Bye.